facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Adobe Acrobat Studio, so brand new. Show me all the things PDFs can do. Do your work with ease and speed. PDF Spaces is all you need. Do hours of research in an instant with key insights from an AI assistant. Pick a template with a click. Now your prezzo looks super slick. Close that deal? Yeah, you won. Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat. It's time to do your best work with the all-new Adobe Acrobat Studio.
Hi, it's Adam here. Now, if you're listening to this hypnosis session, based on the title, it might be the case that you drink alcohol at home, and maybe you want to reduce that. And I would say there's a lot of reasons why people do drink at home. For many people, it's a way to end the working day. Lots of people work at home these days, so actually finishing the day with an alcoholic drink is almost the equivalent of going to the pub or a bar after working if you're in a physical location. So it kind of bookends the day. It becomes a line in the sand to say work has finished, and for a lot of people it does that. For a lot of people it's used as an emotional crutch to deal with overwhelm, stress, and maybe even anxiety. That can really help. For some people, it's just become a habit, and I would say most home drinking, most people will do this week similar things to what they did the week before and the week before that. So if you've got into a habit of regular drinking, it doesn't have to mean that you have this awful trauma from your past or that you've got this horrible addiction. It could just be that your brain has got into a habit and it is continuing to do that. But it's a habit with consequences, because alcohol has this element of habituation, which means that it requires more alcohol to give the same effect. And for a lot of people, because they're used to having alcohol in certain situations, if they don't have it, it feels like something is missing. So there's that element going on as well. This particular client that I was working with was drinking around about, every day. So it was daily drinking, and they didn't want to do that anymore. So what we have is an introduction of parameters. And one of the key things is that if you introduce a parameter, then it doesn't feel like you can't drink. It's just that you're introducing something that reduces how much you drink. This particular client was drinking a very specific type and a brand of wine almost daily. And if they opened it, they would always finish it. So it was about a bottle a day. But for them, they were only drinking at home, because for them, drinking outside in public on their own was linked to something very undesirable, like judgment, embarrassment, and those kind of things. And they felt it would affect the quality of their livelihood and their reputation. So the key parameter in this session is they can drink as much as they want, but not in the home, okay? And it has to be in a social situation with someone else, and actually uses a pattern interrupt of them imagining being in a very public place in their local village, drinking a bottle of wine from the bottle and feeling that other people are judging them. And then there's a post-hypnotic suggestion that to solidify this new belief of only drinking when outside of the home and with other people, they would get a bottle, go to that town square, that village square, tip it away and throw it away, because the very act of tipping away alcohol goes against what most people would normally do and signifies, the brain interprets that as the reference to back up a belief that they do not need to drink that wine and they don't need to drink it at home. So there's some powerful things going on here. It's going to be most useful if you are drinking at home and don't want to. If you enjoy drinking at home and you don't want to change that, this is not the right hypnosis session for you. This particular client felt that there would be health consequences if they continued to drink a bottle of wine a day at home. And by having that one parameter of just not drinking at home, they estimated that the amount of alcohol that they would be consuming over a year would drop by about 95% or more simply by not drinking at home. So that's how powerful this can be. it's going to be useful for you if you are drinking at home and want to set that as a new boundary. So if that's what you want, this is the right intention to set now. If you're just passively listening, you can get some ideas and maybe it just fuels thoughts for you to make a decision in the future. But I would say you're going to benefit most if you truly decide that you do not want to drink at home and now is the time to change that. Then when you listen to this hypnosis session, it's going to be a lot more effective. Hypnosis isn't magic. It's a form of assistance to neuroplasticity to help you make changes that you know that you want to make. So if you want to make that change, this is going to be very useful for you. Now, some of the references, it is a particular white wine. You know, she was living in a place in Italy. Some of the references aren't going to fit you because it was created for a real client with real situations. So if you want something a bit more customized, have a look in the description and there will be a link where you can schedule a completely free consultation call to explore working with me. We'll have a chat and I'll let you know how I work, how many sessions I expect it would be to help you, and the pricing and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm there to answer any questions. For now, though, you might get some value from this session. So find a quiet, comfortable place where you're not going to be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you breathe out, just allow your eyelids to close. And as they close, settle into that wonderful feeling of ever increasing relaxation. And when you breathe in deeper than you normally would. And as you exhale, just allow that outward breath to carry on, really emptying your lungs, creating a vacuum there in the diaphragm. So much so that when you breathe in again, of course, you can breathe in deeper because there is more space in your lungs to do so. Breathing in that feeling of pure relaxation and exhaling any stress, any tension, any worries. Just feel like it's leaving your body as you breathe out. The deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And the more relaxed you become, the deeper you breathe. Each breath taking you deeper and deeper relaxed. And as your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. And I want you to imagine what it would feel like to keep your physical body there and just float to a volcanic lake. You know the one. And just imagine you're there. You're there with a dog that has such a lovely energy. She's excited to be there by the lake. I want you to imagine breathing in fresh, clean air. And I want you to imagine that the lake, maybe due to wind, or maybe a recent storm, seems choppy, waves bigger than normal, restless. But as you stare at the surface of the lake, breathing in relaxation, exhaling tension, I want you to imagine the lake starting to settle. Each breath calms the surface of the lake until the lake is still, like a piece of glass, a mirror. And maybe you could imagine seeing the reflection of the sky, the clouds. And I want you to connect with a feeling of peace, of calmness, of inner connection. And I want you to notice that when you feel this way, there is no desire to drink. In fact, there, in that moment, outside by the lake, if someone offered you a glass of wine, but you had to drink it, there with your dog, standing by the lake, think of how easy it would be to turn it down because you just don't want it. And I want you to imagine that close to that lake, there's a door, not connected to a building, just a door with a door frame. And I want you to imagine that this door leads to a staircase, and that staircase leads to a traditional old cinema that you have all to yourself. Imagine standing there in front of that door. And as I count from 5 to 1, you will imagine opening the door and walking through the door, standing at the top of a staircase. 5, putting your hand on the handle. 4, turning the handle. 3, opening the door. 2, walking through the door. And 1, closing it behind you. And then imagine a staircase. Each time you step down a stair on that staircase, you will find yourself going deeper and deeper relaxed. 5, going down the staircase. 4, deeper relaxed, breathing more and more slowly, longer, more relaxed. 4 becomes 3, becomes 2, and then 1. Just imagine you're now at the bottom of the staircase, walking in to a traditional old cinema. But you have the room all to yourself. Old, smooth, velvet chairs. Maybe those curtains that used to open up to reveal the screen. Maybe the whirring of a projector, the smell of popcorn. And I want you to find the seat in the cinema that's the most comfortable, with the best view of the screen. And that screen is blank. And when you're there on that seat, seeing the screen, let me know by nodding your head. That's it, breathing in, breathing out, going deeper relaxed, like you're sinking into that cinema seat. And I want you to imagine what it would be like to see a version of you on that screen if things don't change. Imagine seeing you going to a supermarket on a regular basis, buying a specific variety of wine, a bottle, seeing yourself emotionally triggered, opening that bottle and having the entire bottle within a few hours, And imagine that happens day after day after day after day after day until months, if not years, go by. And I want you to have the screen reveal an inevitable consequence of living life that way. If someone crossed the road with their eyes closed, they may get lucky 5, 10, 15 times until they cross the road and a car hits them and they die. That would be the inevitable consequence of crossing the road with your eyes closed. But I want you to see the inevitable consequence of having a bottle of wine almost every day. Maybe it's a sickness, an illness, a health issue, or maybe something else. But when it's revealed to you, that inevitable consequence of living life that way, let me know by nodding your head. And if there's a desire to avoid that future that is more important than whatever small benefit you get from continuing, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to step into the screen, feel what it would feel like to be living with that inevitable consequence. And when it feels like enough is enough, something needs to change now. When that feeling comes up, that feeling of absolute resolution, enough is enough, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And what if you could go back in time before all of this consequence happened and introduce one boundary that keeps you safe? You would do anything to go back in time and convince you to respect that boundary. Because boundaries often are respected when we see the point of them. You could choose to walk around your village naked, but you don't. There is a boundary that says you wear clothes in public. You could swear at everyone loudly whenever they cause you even mild annoyance, but you don't. You have that boundary. And what if there was just one boundary that could be introduced to avoid that inevitable consequence? So imagine rewinding those months, those years of daily drinking, and then find yourself back in the chair of the cinema looking at a screen and seeing what would happen if there was just one boundary. No drinking in your own home. Outside of the home is fine, but inside of the home, you don't allow it. Not because you can't, you simply don't want to, because the boundary keeps you safe. And I want you to imagine testing that boundary to see if it's the right boundary. I want you to imagine seeing yourself there on that screen that says you can drink as much as you want if it's in public. That might be a bar. That might be outside of the home in a public street. Might be a special occasion. And I want you to imagine seeing what would happen if that version of you went to that supermarket, bought that specific variety of wine. You know the one. The white label. The blue top. It looks simple, fresh, desirable even. But your new boundary says, no drinking at home. And I want you to see that version of you on the screen, going to the village square, the piazza, with a corkscrew, but no glass. I want you to imagine that version of you opens the bottle, hear the pop of the cork, releasing the air trapped in the topple of the bottle. And I want you to imagine it's not super busy, but there's a few people there. And maybe see yourself on a bench or a step or just standing. Dog and a lead in one hand, bottle in the other. And see that version of you drinking the wine straight from the bottle. That's your rule. No drinking in the home. And I want you to notice what emotions come up for you when you see that version of you drinking in public straight from the bottle. Maybe it's a feeling of, that's not right. I would never do that. But to create a pattern, we need emotion. Imagine stepping into the screen, being in your own body, and imagine it being 8 p.m. at night, there in the village square, drinking a whole bottle without a glass, chugging it down. And if this feels undesirable, if it feels like you can do this but you don't want to do this, let me know by nodding your head. And therefore the boundary is correct. Just because you can doesn't mean you do, but you know you can. So just imagine rewinding that, and then imagine seeing yourself that if you really wanted a drink, you would order a glass on your own, maybe in a wine bar, kind of place where they serve wine by the glass. But imagine you're there on your own, no food, just a glass of wine. And notice a few people are looking at you, maybe gossiping or talking to each other. And if that also feels undesirable, let me know by nodding your head. Step into that version of you, feel how it would feel to order a glass, drink a glass, all by yourself, the exact type of wine that felt fine at home but feels different here in public. Because if something can only be done when no one's watching, it means deep down in your very core, it's because there is shame attached. And if you do something shameful every day for months and months, you can feel ashamed. And sometimes when people are feeling ashamed, the body tries to deter them, sometimes from sensations that can feel like a wheel of knives, pain, discomfort. But what if when the shame goes, the pain goes, and life gets better? And now let's go back to the cinema and see if the boundary is right in certain circumstances. I want you to imagine that a friend is saying, if you'd like to meet up, see yourself in a particular place, having 1 or 2 drinks by the glass, along with food, along with conversation. And if this feels on the right side of your boundary, let me know by nodding your head. And then imagine yourself at a special occasion, maybe a wedding, maybe a birthday celebration, social, public, and not in your home. And if that feels on the right side of your boundary, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine that you can drink as much as you want if it's in public and not in your home. And just imagine being in your home. See yourself on the screen in your home on a weekday after 8 p.m. and you seem stressed. That version of you could go to a supermarket but doesn't, because your new boundary is that if you buy a bottle of wine, you have to drink it in public, not private. And therefore, you don't want it. See yourself on that screen, taking your dog for a walk on a different route. Seeing yourself do other things to let go of stress. Relax, read a book, or maybe you see yourself writing more. There are so many ways that you can release emotion. Maybe it's a dog walk. Maybe it's deep breathing or meditation, or maybe listening to hypnosis. There are so many ways that you can release emotions without drink. But if you do want to drink, you do it publicly or socially, and not in your home. And every time you have a desire to drink, I want you to ask yourself the question, would I be willing to do this there in a public situation? And if not, then you don't want it. This is not an addiction. It's just become a habit of convenience that is linked to something that your unconscious believes is shameful. If your unconscious now feels that this is a useful boundary that gives you the moments of enjoying wine or alcohol with friends or family members in certain situations, but reduces drinking as a coping strategy, as a form of self-medication. The irony being that this form of self-medication just makes you sick in your future. If your unconscious is ready to introduce, respect, and protect this boundary, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And I want you to imagine seeing yourself on that screen, maybe 5 years from now, 5 years of this boundary. See how much healthier you look, more productive you are, more emotionally balanced, more resilient, smiling more, stressed less, but also with an absence of pain. Because the healthier you are, the more your body can let go of pain linked to trauma. It can release it, it doesn't need it. And if this future seems much more desirable than a future of that inevitable consequence, then we know the boundary is a good boundary. But a boundary is only a good boundary if it's a protected boundary. If you're willing to introduce and protect this boundary, then it starts with pouring away or refusing to buy any more wine that is there in the home. And sometimes it's good to have a ritual, a psychological line in the sand. So I want you to imagine buying one final bottle, taking it to that public place, that main square, uncorking it, and thinking that you could drink it there in that moment, but you don't want to. So then imagine going to a nearby drain, pouring it all away, and putting the bottle in a bin, and feeling proud that this is what introduces your boundary. Knowing that you could, but chose not to, is so much more powerful than thinking you want something but aren't allowed it. One requires discernment, the other requires willpower, and discernment will always outperform willpower. When your unconscious is ready to make all of these changes, let me know by nodding your head. It's time to leave that cinema, but you do so with a sense of clarity and empowerment. It's not that you're not allowed alcohol, you're just choosing to do it in specific circumstances. That's what keeps you safe. As you imagine leaving the cinema, climbing up the stairs, walking through the door, find yourself back there by the side of that volcanic lake, but feeling like something has shifted. Imagine seeing that bottle of wine with the blue seal at the top, the white label, corkscrew by it, and just imagine all of those people in the life that would love to see you fail, would love to see you be humiliated. Imagine there by the lake, and just imagine you uncork the bottle and you have a choice. You either drink it in front of them and they win, or you pour it into the lake and throw the bottle away and you win. And when you've made your choice, imagine doing that. And let me know by nodding your head. It's time to leave, so take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now, as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode. in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.